We've watched the market kind of play out with some of these things today. You look at the Russell 2000, it's up by 3%, or at least it was a little earlier this morning on, I guess, the idea that there will be more spending, more stimulus that's coming. The banks are responding well today because you've got the 10-year back above 1%. When is there a point where it's a concern to you? When is there a point where, OK, this is spending that can be done in an emergency situation? You've had Jay Powell say, if we're going to overshoot, he thinks that's OK right now. How do you come down on any and all of that?
Well, there's a lot there. Let me start on the fiscal side, Becky, which is the biggest, most important stimulus, far more consequential than anything than Congress has passed going back to the CARES Act, is this vaccine, which you and your team have been reporting on. That vaccine is a $10 or $20 trillion stimulus in and of itself. Nothing can get this economy back faster and more efficiently than a vaccine that's out there that makes the virus non-existent, or at least something we can live with. So that's the most powerful. And if what you're reporting is right, which is this vaccine is going to be in the broad U.S. population by end of the second quarter, beginning of the first quarter, I would say that the government distribution of stimulus isn't quite as effective as the power of vaccine to take the animal spirits, which have been all but dead, and have them come back to life. So that's where the energy, the focus should be. And thank goodness for the private sector, with some assistance, no doubt, from the government and accelerating that. That's incredibly powerful. In the old days, Becky, you would have a central bank look through tough periods and say, well, if a couple of quarters out, this economy is going to be growing, according to their measure, 4 or 5%, according to my measure, even more than that, then central banks would say, well, monetary policy acts with a long and variable lag, so there's not a ton we can do about the next few months. But that's not the musings I hear from the Federal Reserve, and that's certainly not what I hear from Congress. I guess just as a final point, Becky, I'd say this. I think the level of debt to GDP in the U.S. should have us all concerned. Broadly speaking, debt to GDP in the U.S. today is what it was in Italy 12 or 14 months ago. And none of us thought that Italy was in great fiscal shape. There is a bill to pay. There are no free lunches. I must sound like the oldest, most has-been central banker to be on your air in a very long time. But when I hear the broad swath of the economics profession saying there's a new regime in fiscal policy, and so long as you can cover interest payments, there's nothing to worry about. And when I hear the world's central banks basically say debt monetization is what we do, I would say this is an experiment we've never run before, and I think it's got plenty of risks. So I'd put the emphasis for Congress on, we're a rich and powerful nation. We care about the least well-off among us, and we want to help them in tough times. But that does not involve this kind of profligate spending when we're on the verge of a vaccine that's going to take an economy that had been shut down and locked down and have it come to life with incredible animal spirits going for it.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.